What's up, guys? Here today to talk to you guys about Master Duels and the new game coming out basically. And I'll be reacting to Farfa's new video explaining some of the problems that he thinks might arise and how I believe that we can fix them. And also just, putting my 2 cents in on how I think monetization and stuff will work for this game. I have a fairly good idea of what they could implement to kind of curb some of the problems a lot of the people are mentioning. So yeah, here it is. Let's go check it out. All right, let's get right into it.
So it finally happened. After so many years, it's finally here. Master Duel, the brand new automatic Konami official simulator, has been announced. Dueling Book and EDO Pro are gone.
Yep. I agree. I think the simulators will probably get sued into the Stone Age.
How excited and hyped I am for this would be an understatement. This is potentially the greatest thing to happen to Yu-Gi-Oh! Since Tour Guide and Dante. But rather than exhausting you with information we're already more than aware of by now if you've been on the internet for the last 24 hours, let's talk about some of the key points that have people worried. Problem number 1. This is the end of IRL cardboard Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't think this argument holds any water at all. People who play in person do so primarily for the social and interactive in-person aspect. There are people who would much rather quit the game.
I will go a bit further into this in just a minute after he finishes making this point, because I do have a little bit to say about that. I don't necessarily disagree.
Then have to play exclusively online. And as for the players playing online, many will do so because they simply want to play more Yu-Gi-Oh! When they don't have friends physically present at the time, and many more will do so because they don't have the means financially to play in real life, or because they don't live near somewhere local. This is a win-win situation. Master Duel and IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! Are there symbiotically to supplement one another. Not
in theory, yes. Correct. But we'll get to that.
Replace one another. Problem number 2. The pain.
All right, well, before we get into problem number 2, we will just quickly talk about what Farfa said there just a little bit quickly. I've just got a few notes here as well. Okay, first up, is IRL Yu-Gi-Oh! Dead? And why do people play this game? So the first thing I want to say is I do not think that real Yu-Gi-Oh! Will ever die as like a pastime or a hobby. As far as a competitive environment, that may be a different story. So here's what I want to say about this. Basically, there are a lot, not all, but I know a lot of the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Base, which aren't the majority of the fan base, but hear me out here. So a majority of the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Base play this game and buy these cards for so much money purely for the competition aspect. They feel like they want to be best equipped for a tournament to be able to win that tournament, right? So usually your justification for spending, say, $1,000, $2,000 on your deck is, oh, well, I can use this to qualify it at a regional qualifier and then go play at a higher level into state. And that will make my purchase a lot more worth it than just playing locals every day, right? So stay with me, stay with me. So why, if this platform does end up being the official simulator to play the game on and has tournament support, why would I spend like what I would imagine would be a big percentage of my paycheck on these real life cards just to have to go buy them again for tournaments? Like, this is like a huge thing I don't see anyone talking about. But like, for a really good example, right, is coronavirus hit. I just kind of sold all my cards. I don't own any Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I think I might own a Burning Abyss deck, and that's about it. So, and I'm not indicative of the entire player base, obviously. But this is like a huge thing, right? So if this does end up becoming the standard to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And play tournaments with Yu-Gi-Oh! As opposed to remote duels, which I am so sure those are just going to get scrapped because there's absolutely no reason for them to compete with each other by trying to run remote duel tournaments and trying to run master duel tournaments. It just doesn't make sense. So you might be saying, oh yeah, but what about, real life Yu-Gi-Oh! Big events, regionals, Oceanics? Like, assuming we even get Oceanics for real Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'm pretty much fully assuming here this game will be the platform to be playing the game at Worlds moving on. But anyway, let's assume it's not. Let's assume we have real tournaments, right? We can't go to real tournaments. We're in a pandemic. And let's say a few years pass and we are no longer in a pandemic. If people aren't already invested in real Yu-Gi-Oh at that point, there's a very good chance the game could die. Very good chance. It completely depends on what happens with global vaccination and the way this virus ends up. I know. I guess what I'm trying to say here is if coronavirus ends up sticking around for a couple of years, that might be enough to kill Yu-Gi-Oh! Like real cards. I think the only thing it's holding on by the skin of its teeth at the moment, purely just because of remote duels. I'm so sure of it. You can argue, sure, like, you know, the sales skyrocketed when this first happened and stuff. But like, I think as people come more and more to terms with the fact that we may not be able to actually play Yu-Gi-Oh!, at least not on a global level, I can't imagine that every single country on the planet will have this, you know, or every OTS country even will have this under control. So that's like a huge part of that there. Another thing I heard Farfa mention there is the prices and like people. No, you know what? I probably made my point fairly well there. But yeah, I suppose to you know, close on that point, the symbiotic relationship with Yu-Gi-Oh! Real life and digital is severely threatened by this virus, and I do believe that if they are to continue running Yu-Gi-Oh! Sanctioned events at a higher level than locals for any more than just fun, I guess, not that, you know, fun's subjective, competitive is subjective as well. You can be competitive at locals, I guess, but like, you know, if they continue to run a real life Yu-Gi-Oh! Game with the premise of this game being you have to play online to qualify for Worlds, but you can play with your buddies for fun, they're either going to have to change the structure of the booster packs severely, i.e. making every card in the game available in common, or they're just going to have to scrap Master Duel because there's no world where they're going to be able to compete with each other like that. I don't understand how any logical human being would fork out, let's just, for an example, right? Let's just say it's 2016 and I want to go buy a Pepe deck, right? Like, you know, Sorcerer, all that Strikes, Cyberdragon Infinity, Bosch, all that nonsense, right? Let's say I want to go buy that and I want to go play locals with my Pendulum deck. It's like, okay, cool. Am I really going to then go and spend all that money again on digital in-app purchases trying to get that deck for the actual official platform of the game? Probably not. So something is going to have to happen there. Either whether that means that this game dies or the real game. I don't want to say it dies because I can imagine having, like, you know, holding cards, that whole feeling is irreplaceable, right? Like that there will always be like a market for that. But I definitely don't see Konami selling, you know, cases and cases of products so people can pull their freaking secret rares out of it anymore. Like, why am if I'm going to be doing that and I'm going to be buying, you know, people aren't made of money, you know. That's I suppose the point I'm trying to make here is that they'd really be shooting themselves in the foot if they were to prioritize real life Yu-Gi-Oh! Over Master Duel at this point, I think, especially with the pandemic that we're in and the idea that I believe this game was probably developed with that in mind, I'd imagine, to a certain degree. Yeah, anyway, let's continue on with the video.
Payment model. Been a lot of speculation about this since the game was announced about a year ago, from anything as far as one-time payments, subscription fees, individual card packs, and even scanning the cards through your phone in real life. But what we do know is that it's now confirmed to have the same model as Duel Links, free to play with microtransactions.
Yeah, this
to the store!
That's really important as well, the comparison to Duel Links, because that is a huge line to draw there, like to see where they might go with this.
To the cash shop! Tick Hollow Infernity Archfiend. No. How many microtransactions and how easy it is to obtain the cards through those microtransactions, because remember, there's over 10,000 of them. Some of them are even older than my viewers. Well, that's something we don't know yet. If it was up to me, it would be completely free to play, but you would be able to pay for all kinds of crazy cool cosmetics from the custom fields, the shiny alternate rarities, or the pets. Plenty of games use this model quite successfully, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a little bit unique in this regard. We've never had a card game released digitally with as much history as Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and Runeterra were quite simple because they have rotation, so you simply just release the sets that are in rotation. So you just have a few boxes on sale on the card stores that you would open the packs for. But what are you going to do with Yu-Gi-Oh? Resell Stardust Overdrive from 2009?
That's like, really, this is probably the biggest point here to make, and it's a really good point, is that like there just are too many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!
So you can get your appointer. Obviously, it's not realistic to expect players to buy Phantom Darkness in 2021. Perhaps they will give us all the current cards, and then you have to buy the subsequent products after the initial release of Master Duel.
Yeah, just quickly before I do finish this point, I just want to talk on that specific point there, that maybe they'll just give us all the cards and we'll just get cosmetics be the the thing that draws in money. And as much as I would like to believe that, it's not going to happen. I'm going to stake this one here now. That will not happen. Cosmetics will not be the draw for financial purchase in this game. You will be buying booster packs. You heard it here first. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, there's just like, there's no way. I saw a graph the other day seeing how much money Duel Links is making at the moment in comparison to the rest of the digital card games. And it's just like, it's literally double Hearthstone, which is number 2 on the list. So that should tell you something. Like, their monetization model at the very least is making them a lot of money. I don't think they'd say no to that, like say goodbye to that for the sake of integrity or anything. It doesn't seem like a Konami thing to do, but
this is more of a wait and see, and I don't think the game will live and die by how good or not good the payment model.
Also true, this game could be, like literally just Duel Links, but for every set in the game, people will still buy all the cards.
I think for the most part, it will be quite successful, like Duel Links has been. It's just a case of whether or not it works out for us. Problem number.
All right, before we go into the next problem, I just want to quickly stick on this point of how are we going to get the cards? How is the monetization going to work? What are we going to do here? Like, and I'd like to tell you right now, like, I have a really, really good idea. So let me just open up Arena here for you guys. Okay, so basically, you see all these little icons here? These all represent sets, right? Well, anyway, so, well, there you go. That just kind of shows you right now. This cannot be played in the standard format. So you have rotating sets. So currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. There's 8 sets in rotation at the moment. And this is something really important to note here because there's actually a legacy format in this game, I believe. Don't quote me on it. I'm not actually a Magic player, so I can't explain it in depth. But there is a format which you can use these cards for. And if I am not mistaken, yes, you can still buy them. These I assume would be for Modern. I think it's called Modern, or whatever format they have on here that plays older cards. Now, how does this translate to Yu-Gi-Oh, you might be asking? Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have rotation. We have way more sets than that, right? So let's just, let's say this silver area here is current sets that they are currently selling in stores, right? As you would, right? These orange sets are out of print sets. They are no longer being sold in stores, but they still contain cards that you need to play your strategies, right? So what I would imagine they will do is one of two things. A, they will make the current booster sets, so, Lightning Overdrive. I can't think of any other current ones off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about. I'll list them. I'll edit it in. I'll list a couple for you. Yeah. So you'd imagine those sets will be paid. You'll have to pay for booster packs for these sets, and I'd imagine that these sets will get rotated as more sets comes out. And on the other end of it is the older sets, which I imagine will be free, and you will be able to pick and choose cards from the older sets. Or alternatively, you will have something along the lines of gold coin, silver coin, where you earn a lot more silver coins than you do gold coins, right? And your silver coins will be used to buy older sets. Your gold coins will be used to buy newer sets. And this will translate to the store accordingly, with cost and stuff. Like, you'd be able to buy substantially more silver coins than you would gold. So it makes it kind of fair. Also, just want to mention the whole wildcard system in this game. So I'm imagining if they want to do this, this could be another really cool way of sorting that issue out, right? It's like, why am I going to buy old sets and dig for cards? Assuming they are paid, I think they actually might just be free for the older sets and then just newer sets end up being paid. But let's just assume older sets are paid and they're a lot cheaper, right? Why am I going to dig through for like an old secret rare or whatever? It's like, well, if I can dig through those packs and then trade off my cards for wild cards, which would what a wild card is essentially, say I have a mythic rare wild card. I can go pick any mythic rare in the game and add it to my card pool. So just imagine that for Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Like, this is honestly, I can't see how else they would monetize this game outside of just making every pack paid. I don't think that would work because of the amount of cards in the game. Like, once again, there is talk of perhaps all the cards being free and just having cosmetic purchases, but I think that is a very big reach, especially for a company like Konami. But alas, we will get back to the video. Yeah, so that's kind of my take on the monetization model. I think covered everything there, yep.
Number 3, which format will it use?
Yes,
if you
it's
pay
also
close
very
attention
interesting.
to the trailer, you will notice that Maxi is in the deck of one of the players, implying that they're playing OCG format, and considering how they explicitly say TCG/OCG in this trailer, there will be regions. They want this to be running tournaments and competitive gameplay. It has to make sense for people who are playing the IRL game alongside Master Duel in the background, at home or for fun, alongside it. This means that rulings for events will finally become...
All right. Well, let's just cover... Let's get into that a little bit as well, because this is probably the least interesting part of this video, but I think I should talk about it anyway. It's pretty obvious to me that they're going to... I don't know, maybe not obvious isn't the word, but it kind of just screams legacy formats. I can't imagine you make a game called Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel and not have the previous master rules of the game coded in. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm almost positive we will have legacy formats and we will have an OCG or TCG split. So or even to elaborate on that, it's very possible we get a combined format similar to Worlds. But what I honestly think is you will get the choice to either play TCG or OCG. And those will be the two ranked platforms. And anything past that will be, I don't know, I'd imagine they could do anything. They could throw GOAT support in there. You could just randomly, once a week you get to play an old legacy format, right? Gives people, once again, comes back to the monetization. It would give people a reason to open up old sets like Metal Raiders, Legend of Blue Eyes and stuff, right? Like sets that you would not, anyone with a brain would just not touch. Like it gives an incentive to open those sets, which could open up, more monetization. Depending on how greedy they get is one thing. I can't really see people dropping $500 to go play goats on a simulator. But, if these older packs end up being cheaper or whatever, that might be a fun way to get into the game. So I'd imagine with all that in mind, that's probably how it's going to go. It's probably going to be OCG or TCG. I've heard a lot of people saying they think it will be like a combined format and that'll be it. It will be like its own format, Master Duel format. I don't think so. I think we'll have a variety of different options on this game coded into the game, and the ranked options will be split between OCG or TCG. Well, because like the thing you need to think about is like this game is also going to be marketed to like the Asian audience as well. So it's not just a Western game. So I don't really see a reason for them to combine the formats into one and have like a world's ban list, because what that ends up doing is limiting the OCG players. They're no longer allowed to play the cards from the newer sets that they own, because they're 3 months ahead of us or something along those lines. So like, you know, you're not going to make OCG players not play their new cards, right? And you're also not going to have OCG players playing their new cards on a ban list 3 months old. Like, yeah, anyway, moving on. Anything else on this video?
For my plans going forward, well, I see basically no reason whatsoever to continue using online simulators. My content will move exclusively and transfer fully to Master Duel henceforth, whenever that is released. And hopefully we can get some kind of early access beta that I can stream or something. Am I right? Konami? Konami?
Imagine, dude.
But until then, I will continue doing what I do.
Just hand out beta keys to everyone over Twitch. Genius.
Over on twitch.tv/Farfa. Comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, adios.
Well, that's it, guys. And to summarize, as a wise man once said, this is the best thing to happen to Yu-Gi-Oh! Since Dante and Tour Guide. So, yeah, no, I'm super excited for this game. You heard it here first as well. You're looking at the next #1 ranked on the platform right here. Like, big claim, I know, but I am going to grind the absolute fuck out of this game. I already really love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm really into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, which you may have seen at some of my streams at twitch.tv/Normo92. Link in the description. But yeah, I am truly, I have no words. Like, I could not have predicted this at all. I've been asking for this kind of thing to happen for years, and it's just gotten to the point where it's just kind of like, you know, like maybe I'll be a millionaire one day. Maybe I'll, like, you know, cure world hunger. Maybe they'll release an official Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this really came really out of nowhere. It's insanely exciting, and I can't imagine anyone has anything too negative to say about this outside of, I really don't want to have to spend all my money on this game, which is a fair argument. But you know what? Cry about it, nerds. Peace.